Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of SuperFantaFi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Ishura Season 1, Episode 10. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So I brought it up previously. Well, the episode kind of still leans into this is the principality of Lithia, but we're not like directly where Terran is. But once again, maybe we're in a different section of the city, because I was like, we are talking about a principality. Maybe I'm only talking about the capital city versus like multiple cities. I had that whole conversation before, because they just label it as the principality of Lithia. Either way, we have Dekai and Nihilo duking it out. It's like, of course, these two are going to run into each other. I mean, because Shulk ended up running into Kia and Elia, which nothing ended up resulting of that except for him killing some people who were going to attack Kia and Elia, because they just assumed, like, because one of the guys was like, yo, they're civilians, it's just a woman and child, let's leave them alone. But for him, it's like, no, they're Lithians. The fact of the matter is, what happened to our city, Mage City, they're just as culpable. You know, it's like, it's that thing of, yeah, some people are about this fight, other people are just living their everyday lives, and should you be culpable for what your government does, even though you might not agree with it? I mean, so many people are blasé about the war and stuff, because it was that whole point that Lana had made like a couple episodes back, saying like, right, they're not too worried about it because they had the Wyverns and Regneji to like block, so they were like, no one's ever been able to pierce that defense, so they were never too concerned about it. Like, the notion of war seemed so foreign and so far away, because it's like, it doesn't really affect us until it is now. Your city is literally burning. There's a lot of people dead. There are people from Mage City storming because they want revenge for what you did. You killed so many people, died. Our city was burning. Now it's time for us to return the favor. But yeah, like, there's some decorum of like, hey, they're women and children, leave them alone. They're not soldiers. We're only here to fight soldiers. But it's like, no, they're culpable because their government, their principality decided to attack us. I mean, yeah, we're kind of slightly with Lithia, but like, I mean, with Horatia, but you could have attacked them. You didn't have to attack us. We didn't have anything directly to do with that. So it's that situation of war kind of creates more monsters. But Shulk ended up showing up, and he ended up, I keep just saying it Shulk, as like Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles, but it's Shulk. Like, I don't know if it's just the way I slur my words. I just feel like I don't delineate enough. I mean, maybe it's just pronounced exactly the same. Shulk versus Shulk. You know, there is a difference, but whatever. Maybe that's just me being anal about it. Either way, kind of ends up killing them, and then even Kia's like, right, you didn't have to kill them, like, we could have had, I mean, even she's like, I could have found another way around it, because she would have most likely just put them to sleep like she did those guards, unaware that Elia went behind her and killed every single one of them. So she thought she was going through this place bloodlessly, which she personally was. I mean, she inadvertently killed Higuri, so it was not like she purposely did that, but so that ends up being an interesting development on that front. And Shulk is just like, yeah, he even says like, oh yeah, like, I don't have my name. Like, ever since I died, I haven't had my name. I think this is the first time they've ever referenced like what he is. He's a construct, which I thought was interesting, which is the same thing that Nihilo's tarantula mech thing is as well. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because I wonder, is that like a necromancy thing that brought him back? Or was it something else? Is it like, is it kind of like an Alphonse from Fullmetal Alchemist, where it's like your body's bound to, like, your soul is bound to these bones? Like, are these actually your bones, or are these just some random bones? Most likely yours, maybe, I don't know. Makes you want to know who Shulk was in his previous life, when he was, you know, his living life and not his undead life. But either way, let's circle over to Dekai and Nihilo duking it out. It's like, right, so we have the tarantula versus this quick bandit. Now, obviously, he's dodging her attacks, which her attacks don't just pierce, they slice. I mean, she sends out like a single shot of like webbing, and it just slices a building. It's like, it wasn't even going diagonal, Jesus, sorry. And it just happens to like slice through stuff. I mean, obviously, Dekai's extremely fast, so he's able to dodge everything. He tries using his enchanted sword. It can't cut through the armor, which, it's like, what does that say about Sojiro? It's like, is Sojiro's sword even special? Is it even about his sword? Is that just him? Because I don't think Dekai has like an actual fighting style. I mean, we know that Sojiro does. He has a style of swordsmanship. Once again, Dakai doesn't even view himself as a swordsman, so it's probably just like, no, I'm just using my reflexes and that's it. So I don't have actual swordsmanship style. So I mean, because if you look at Sojiro's sword, it's like rusted and crappy, yet he's able to slice through a lot. I mean, he was even able to slice through Nihilo's tarantula, even though like Dakai, even with an enchanted sword, couldn't. He even used its own webbing against it, and it still couldn't pierce that. He even has it step into water. They end up using the code star on it, which was impressive. I was like, oh. I thought it was interesting. I was like, well, she's not being affected. Like, the tarantula seems like it's getting melted, but she's not. Turns out it's actually not. The reason why he had it step in the fountain is because he wanted to have water splashed on it so that when it got heated up, those bubbles would basically seep inside of the suit of armor, like kind of this armor, like find the gaps in the armor and basically open them up, give you another opportunity. Because any other way, like, there was no way for Dakai to get past this armor at any point in time. Nothing he did worked, and even the Code Star didn't. It's like heat nor impact can affect this thing, but it's like, once again, that goes back to Dakai being like, what the hell cut through that armor if nothing I'm doing is working? So it's kind of an annoying enemy to go against, but Dakai has something up his sleeve, and that is, I thought it was pretty dope when he used like the webbing she had used to kind of jettison herself, like he uses it himself to propel himself. And he has a second sword, a sword he has stolen from Hagure, which I'm like, did Hagure even know that he has stolen? Like, I wonder, was it back? They showed the scene where Hagure showed all his weapons, I think, when everyone was gathered around. I think it's when like Lana and I think Dakai was there, or maybe it just at a different point in time. I'm like, when else would he have had an opportunity? It's like that sticky fingers of him is able to kind of do it. And I guess Hagure was never even aware that his blade has been going, like, he didn't think much of it, I guess. But yeah, he has one of Higure's poisoned blades, and using mandrake poison, he was able to strike at a certain point. Basically, the entire infrastructure of this thing like has a nervous system that kind of connects it, and he basically used the poison to activate the nervous system and attack it and give it the same commands that would be used to open the latch. And he does, and exposes Nihilo, and in one fell swoop he slices off her head. It's like, will that kill her? Because she is kind of immortal, at least based on what we've heard. So maybe she's not dead, but maybe she's kind of in a in-between state because of this. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe she is dead. It's unclear. But, because the tarantula is still fine. The only problem is, like, the hatch was open, so that exposed her. So it's like, well, you take her out, you kind of take the whole thing out because they're connected, and she's kind of like the brain and heart to it. But I don't know if she's definitively dead. Because we didn't get the Hagure death, like what we did with Hagure, we kind of got that sign off about, oh, he's dead now after his fight with Kia. Like, we didn't get that with Nihilo, so I'm like, I don't think she's, like, dead. So, either she's eventually going to be able to either someone has to piece her back together. Like, I don't know if she's on some Deadpool type of stuff of, like, nothing can, like, kill her for real. Because they made it seem like nothing could. Because he had said, like, well, she had said last episode, the only two people she's aware of that could kill her are Sojiro and Kuze. Because Kuze has Mystique, his angel, so it feels like if you'd have to go that far to need Mystique to kill her, seems like she's not that easy to kill, and her to even believe Sojiro would have what it takes to kill her. Even, like, once again, I guess that shows you the delineation between him and Dakai. Because even Shulk was like, no, was it to Dakai or was it to Higure? I can't remember who he said it. It might have been to both of them. I think he said, like, I think he talked to Dakai about it. He was like, yeah, I don't think you want to go up against this dude. I think you'd actually lose. I don't know. Once again, I guess it just showed you how much of a different league Sojiro's in. It does make you wonder where the hell he is in the aftermath of all this, because this is all happening once again, we kind of get back to that, like, anime thing of, oh, Namek is blowing up in 5 minutes. What I mean by that is, like, everything's happening simultaneously, because we see, like, the wyvern bodies falling to the ground in this episode. So it's like, yeah, like, everything that was happening with Alice last episode was just happening in a different, like, all over the place around the city. We're just, like, picking up at different sections. It's just all happening simultaneously and parallel to each other. So obviously some of this episode is taking place after Alice defeated everyone, including Regneji, whereas, like, other bits are happening at the exact same time. So it's just really interesting framing device. like time wise and stuff. But circling back to the whole situation of Kia and Elia, like Elia wants to try and get Kia out of town, whereas all these other civilians are getting escorted out, women and children first. But Kia is adamant about staying because she doesn't want to leave Lana behind. It's like, right, if I leave a friend behind, I know as an adult I'm going to end up regretting this. It'll stay with me. And Elia says this interesting line where she was like, well, I don't have to kill Lana anymore. I don't know if she was saying that because, well, even if we don't get to Lana, she has nowhere to go. There's no way she's actually going to be able to find her way out of the city. Like, it's, well, because obviously, like, if people from Lithia are going to be, like, find her, if they find her, they're going to kill her. And she's so wounded and badly, like, she probably won't get out of the city before it gets destroyed. So maybe that's her thought process. So her only concern now is if I let Kia expose her own abilities, that's going to be a problem. So they follow, like, Kia all the way to Lana, who is looking at the destruction of the city, and it's like she kind of has like this approach to it, where like is kind of talking about like, oh, it sucks the strong are able to do whatever they want to, because she's looking at the dead wyverns and the city on fire. She's like, we were fighting so hard to think it would be so hard to like kill those things, that they were going to be like the line of defense we need to get through to protect Eurasia, and they're dead. It's like, what kind of monsters are here? It's like, there are a lot of like crazy monsters in this place. It's like Nihilo, Dakai, Shulk is one. You know, all the characters we've kind of gotten to know. Kia's in that monster range as well, even though she hasn't really caused any of this destruction. Sojiro, like, and Alice, like, this place is riddled with quote unquote monsters, like super powerful people, and that became too much. I mean, Lana's in a very... It's so interesting because it's like, why do you care? Lithia's not even... You were here as a spy. Like, did you, like, grow accustomed to this place? I doubt it. I think it's just the nature of war, where it's like, when you see death so easily, when you saw something that was such a massive threat, and you're just like, wait, shit just got real, because, like, the thing I thought was going to be the thing we'd have a tough time getting through are dead. How the hell did that happen? What monsters are in this place that can wipe out the wyverns, which was going to be our biggest concern? It's like, yeah. And it's too much for Lana, to the point that she picks up the Code Star, the device that has a Code Star, and she ends up, like, trying to fire it into the town, because she's like, the only way I can end this is destroying everything. Because if I kill everything and every monster here, if I don't, this cycle is just going to repeat itself. It's going to be more death and destruction, and it's going to be nasty. It's just, you're a part of something, but it's just, you don't really know the cost of what you're a part of. Like, yeah, she knew she was a spy, but she never recognized, like, once again, it feels so one-sided, and there's just so much destruction, and once again, she's not in the right state of mind after everything she's been through. It's just kind of like, she kind of, once again, has that perspective of it, of monsters that are trampling over everybody else and what they want. And so Elia and Kia ran into her just as she was kind of having a breakdown, so she takes the Code Star and tries to destroy everything, but Kia stops the Code Star blast and disperses it. And it's like, once again, shows how powerful she is, and she just says vanish to all the flames around the city. And it's just kind of that thing of just like, who are you, Elia? Who are you, Kia? And Kia's apologizing. He's like, right, I kind of hid who I really was and this power that I have. Because for her, she's like, you told me, Sensei, that I had the power to make people happy, and I want to use my power to help people, make them happy. It's like, obviously, and even Elia had made this remark about Kia, saying that, she's like, if I had someone on my corner where I felt like I could trust someone, maybe my life wouldn't have turned out the way it is, where she grew up so distrustful and only felt like she could look out for herself. It's just, she doesn't believe in people, and Kia has that young naivety of like, right, you haven't seen how ugly the world is, you know? Once again, even talking about Shulk, it's like, oh, you didn't have to kill them. I could have just like knocked them out. Once again, completely unaware that Elia was going behind you, slitting everyone's throat, and not really slitting their throats, but using poison to kill them, but still. But, I mean, no one was around to see Kia do what she did, but there's still enough eyeballs in that place for someone to have seen it. So, but in that moment, like, Lana's telling Elia, like, no, you don't have to kill me. Like, are you really going to do this in front of, like, don't you want to be a good professor a good example for her, and Ellie just, I was like, I actually don't know what Ellie is going to do, because she doesn't want to kill her in front of Kia, but she says, right, like, why would I harm you or whatever, and that's where the episode ends. But I'm like, are you going to keep that up? Because are you thinking Lana's so traumatized that you don't think she'll say anything? Are you two going to work together from now on? Are you going to wait till Kia's back is turned and then actually properly kill her? Because you're not in a position to kill her right now without it being suspicious. And maybe there is some part of her that also wants to be that person that like the person that she didn't have in her life. She wants to be that for Kia, to keep Kia's innocence. And it's like, do you still have the end result, the end goal of getting her, choosing her as your champion for like the hero competition? Like, do you still have that in mind, or what? It's going to be interesting to see where the next episode takes us with all this. The penultimate episode of the season. I just never know for sure what to expect from the show and where it's going to go from here. We get only 2 episodes left, so how this plays out, we'll have to wait and see. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.